What is going on, folks? You're watching The Hungry Handgunner. I'm Nick, and today's a little bit different camera angle. I'm going to be working with some stuff off the table, so this was going to work better. So I didn't shrink. You guys might have gotten taller, though, so that's kind of cool. What we're going to be talking about today is kind of continuing on that series I did for new gun owners a while back, and this is going to be a little bit more nuanced, a little bit more niche. This is primarily going to be for women because my timeline, my inbox on Facebook, all sorts of stuff has been filled with people asking for recommendations for their wives, significant others, or females asking me things like, hey, I'm going to start carrying a gun. What do you recommend? And it's often not a simple answer because it depends on your level of shooting ability, experience, things like that, your size, what you can conceal, what you wear. A lot of times it's going to dictate that. So obviously I have no experience, I don't think. Might have been a couple drunken nights in the Navy, but I don't think so, where I have no experience wearing a dress or things like that. The closest thing I came to was a kilt. So go ahead and make your cheap shots on that one in the comments. So I am not an expert on this. I am not trying to mansplain or whatever the kids call it when a guy tries to offer advice to a female these days. But what we're going to talk about, I've got a few guns out here, and it seems like, well, I'll just go ahead and jump right in. This is my M&P Shield 2.0. Neat little gun. Awesome gun, and seems like a lot of females gravitate towards guns like this. Now, while this gun is awesome, it's been reliable, guns this size take a little bit more work to shoot well compared to something like CZ P10C. These two guns are not going to have the same learning curve. The fundamentals are all the same, sight alignment's the same, trigger pull's the same, but going to something smaller, and they're both 9mm, it's been my experience, and it seems to be pretty widely accepted, that the smaller gun is going to be more difficult to shoot well. You're going to have to put more time and effort into learning to shoot that gun. So if you are new to the carry world, there seems to be a pervasive theme that it's one of those things where you learn to shoot and that's it, and that's just not true. You need to get out and practice and stay proficient. So if you are not willing to practice in the first place, and then not willing to practice the additional amount it's going to take for something smaller like this, then I wouldn't recommend this at all. I actually wouldn't recommend carrying if you're not going to get proficient and stay proficient. I had to bring my little buddy out here, the Ruger LCP2 in 22 long rifle. Now, we're not talking about 22 as a defensive caliber, but a gun this size. This is the LCP. They make it in 380. This is another very popular gun that I see women gravitating towards. And to be honest, I don't know why. Would I carry this gun? Yes, as a backup gun, or in a pair of board shorts, or something like that, where my options, primarily as a gun that if I didn't carry this, I wouldn't be able to get away with anything else. I'm not normally a backup gun kind of guy, but something like this could be useful in those situations. That being said, I can tell you, shooting it out here on the range, it's kind of hard to shoot. It's a tiny gun, and the recoil is not bad, but the sights are very primitive. You guys can see there I did put a little bit of nail polish there on the front sight to help out a little bit. I think I'm going to go with a brighter color, but that is helping some. A little sight acquisition is a little bit easier with it, but not great. So these are commonly referred to as get off me guns, so contact distance, and they would excel at something like that. But as a primary carry, again, smaller the gun, the harder they are to shoot. So I know you guys are saying, well, what do you recommend? Well, glad you asked. The CZ P10C or Glock 19 or M&P Compact, I think all those guns that are in the Glock 19 size, and I use Glock 19, you guys know I have no particular affinity for Glocks, but I use them as a size reference because they are so ubiquitous. So something about this size seems to be the perfect balance for me as far as carryability, shootability. You have a lot of the same functionality that you would in a full-size gun, just a little bit smaller. You can still get a full firing grip, which is very important to me on a primary carry gun. You still get respectable mag capacity, 15+1 in this one. Same with the Glock 19, 15+1. I think the M&P Compact is 15+1. So you have enough rounds to do the job if you need it, but it's not a full-size gun. I should have brought like my P09 out here or something. This is often the size that I recommend to people. They're not hard to conceal. I know people think they are, and when you look at this, you may think that. I'm a bigger guy, somewhat fluffy, and I appendix carry the FN 509 Tactical, which is even bigger than this, but I appendix carried this for a long time. I've appendix carried a Glock 19, Glock 19X. I've even appendix carried an M9A3. So if you're a bigger guy, you have options. You might have to get a bigger shirt. I wear a 2X. Gives me a little extra down in the fluffy region. But the other thing too is might have to lose some weight, and so I'm certainly working on that. My arms are jello right now from doing a very modest workout. How far we fall. So these guns, the smaller they are, the harder they're going to be to shoot. And the biggest thing for women getting into concealed carry, or anybody really getting into concealed carry, I would recommend that you go out and shoot as many guns as you can. If you have somebody that is into guns and has a collection and is willing to let you try them out, go do that. If you have a range nearby that lets you rent guns, go do that. Get your hand on as many as you can. Figure out what feels good, what you shoot well, what your preferences are. I feel like a lot of times we focus strictly on reliability, which is paramount importance, or looks and functionality, but we don't often talk about preferences, and that's a big part of it, right? And that's going to vary wildly. My preferences are probably not the same as yours, and vice versa. So get out there. You're not going to know what you like until you start trying them out. So, and the biggest thing I can give you tip-wise is whatever you end up carrying, practice. Practice like your life depends on it, because it does. Dry fire exercises, qualified instruction. If you're unsure where to start, you can learn a lot on your own or with friends, but sometimes it may be the prudent thing to do to spend the money and take the time to take a class. And also for guys like me that just want to keep learning, there's no shame in paying somebody else to teach you something. So there is that. But be safe, guys. Remember, don't point it at anything you don't want to shoot. Keep your finger straight and off the trigger till ready to fire. Treat every gun as if it were loaded, and beware of your backstop and what's beyond. So with all that being said, we're going to close this one out. Stay safe. Keep shooting. I'll see you next time.